Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at a new feature in the Pro version of HDScorer. That is marker creation. All of that got put in the markers track. You might see a few changes from the last time. This is under active development. For example, here these very lengthy menus are now collapsible. But where I want you to focus your attention on is right here in the markers. So markers, until now you've been able to import markers, for example the REM stimulation markers. There's no help section for the keyboard shortcuts yet, but I'm just going to tell you, if you push the M key you will navigate to the next marker. So that's a very quick way to navigate across markers in your recording. Once you get to the end, it starts back at the beginning. So these markers that you had displayed over here before now are marking the time to which they refer. The reason here they're whole epochs is that online REM detection, as used in the lucid dreaming functions, is something that identifies REM based on the epoch. But there's no reason to be limited by that. Let's say I find a feature that I want to highlight. For example, a K-complex. I'm going to pick a color, let's say cyan. For some reason got associated with K-complexes as I was developing the interface for the previous version of this. Now if I click A, it allows me to add a new marker. Now let's say that I'm going through this recording and marking K-complexes. So I do that and I click A again and does that again, and I keep scrolling through. Might think that that's a K-complex and that that's a K-complex. So you see how fast you're able to move through because it holds both the color and the tag that you just used. So let's say you go through the whole recording and do this, right? Then you've got the list right here that opens up. So if you want to navigate to any of these sections, you can just click. Also conveniently, as you're moving through over here, you will see that the list scrolls to the position that has the closest marker. So let's say you start at the beginning and you use the M key to navigate through. The list is always going to contain the markers that you're looking at. Here, of course, it's at the bottom, so that effect is a little bit less evident. If I make it small, it will be more evident. Let's try it again. Whenever we move to a section, and it's showing those. Now here they're all the same. They're not supposed to be all the same if you do a proper job. But anyway, so let's say you're done with your K-complexes, and let's say you move on to finding, for example, spindles. Which for me, it's funny how everything is associated with some particular color, because during development I was using the color. So for spindles, I'm just going to call them SP. In fact, I propose we all use a standard for this so that we can exchange files. But A, to add another marker, another one here. And you can go through the whole recording doing these things. And I'm using color as a means of keeping track of what's what. So then the issue came up of what if something is in the middle here between one epoch and the next. So there's a new shortcut which is Shift left and Shift right, and these allow you to move by just 1 second. By just 1 second, now note that the epoch and the stage disappear here if you're moving across epoch boundaries, to signify that, for example, if you try to score here, you can't score it because then it would get messed up. So the moment that you use again any of the commands to move without holding the Shift key, you're going to be reset on an epoch boundary. So for example, if I move a little bit and then click anywhere, you see that you're reset on an epoch boundary. So if you don't want that to happen, you can just move second by second, and that helps you to mark features that might be happening across boundaries. Of course, I can find any now to show you, but let's say I wanted to mark this as spindle. Then I go back to the epoch boundary and you see what it looks like. There's a bit over here and a bit over there as well. Alright, you can also, just for completeness, use Control left and Control right to move by a 0.1 second increment if you ever need to. So this is how you mark your features. I don't think that's a spindle. Let's call this What is that? I don't know what that is. I don't know, so I'm not going to mark it. But for example, if you want to do sweat, let's use blue for sweat, call it SW. The interesting thing is that you can then put another one over here, and let's say that this is a spindle, which it probably is. I'm going to go and make another marker right there. And as you can see, they can overlap, and this is very important for cases in which you want to do some kind of automatic processing of the features, that you can have them overlapped. For example, in training some kind of dictionary or data set for doing later feature recognition, it's useful to have them superimposed. And you might want to mark your movement artifacts or arousals. Say movement artifact, call it MA. Then maybe want to go here and do it. There's no reason why you should color code them if you don't want to. It's just for convenience. They have a label anyway. It's funny how K-complexes never seem to occur across epoch boundaries. Perhaps it's because I'm not seeing it when it does. So yeah, you can scroll back and forth and take a look at, let's see, here we got a RAM, here we get some sweat, we got one spindle over here, lonely spindle, and we got a bunch of K-complexes over here. So I'm still finalizing the interface. For example, if you click here, the fact that it then scrolls, so you're not able to go through one after the other is a little bit problematic. But basically the use case here is you should only click one if you want to go and see what that is, but then mostly you would use the arrow keys or the mouse to navigate. At least that's how I intended it, but still subject to change. So anyway, that functionality is there, and then if you save it, it will save a marker file. And then we try to open it again just to verify that it works. Oops, file load. And then markers load again. Test. Oops, that's not test, that's another one. New, that's what I called it. Okay, so we're back here at our markers. Everything is there. So let's say, for example, that you want to delete a marker that already exists. You just move to it, and then you click the delete key, and that gets rid of it. For example, if you want to replace it with something more accurate, like rands. So you can see how quickly you can annotate data this way. This is EMG. It's a good color for EMG. I'd say this blue. Alright, and this is sweat again. There's a chance I might change the system and have the colors instead to depend on what you type, so that if it's MA, it's going to use the color each time. In fact, that's probably a much better idea. Otherwise, every time, I mean, it depends how you use it. If you go through it looking for one kind of feature, then the color stays the same, so that's fine. But if you're just annotating randomly, like I'm doing right now, like whatever I see on the screen, then there's a good chance that you will be annoyed by the need to constantly change colors. In fact, I think that's probably the next step, would be to have some preset buttons right here, where instead of typing it in and choosing a color, if you just click that button, it defaults to that particular color and that particular label. That should be useful to enforce some kind of consistency, also preventing mistakes. But yes, that's about it. This is the new feature for what I call markers. You could also call them annotations. There's no reason why they have to be short words. They could be anything. You could move to a epoch that you don't recognize. Let's see. Like, let's say this is unclear, so I click Alt-A, which selects everything. And then for unknown stuff, let's use white, for example. But so you can insert comments for other investigators. All right, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching.